Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm so excited to have Dr. Gwen here. She has come on to, well, let's first start with thank you so much for being here, Dr. Gwen. I am so excited about this. I had my own blood analyzed a month-ish ago when I was at the holistic event, the New Vision event out in Lancaster, and it was awesome. It was so cool. Um, so I was reading up on you, Dr. Gwen, and this is your 40th anniversary as a foot reflexologist. Congratulations on that. And of the many things that you do, you offer energy healing, Reiki, sound immersion, a reverend. Also, you have quite a few irons in the fire there, and the live blood cell analysis. So I think that's absolutely fascinating. And without further ado, I would love to bring you on to explain what you experienced with the patches and your pre and post and all of these big crazy words. I don't know what they mean.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's just divine intervention that I met you, Kate, it was York. We were at the York Expo.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, it was okay. And I was doing blood analysis there. And for those of you who are like, wow, 40 years in reflexology, I was in utero when I took the class. No. But anyway, so I am a naturopathic doctor and I do all sorts of forms of healing, but the nutritional live blood cell analysis is one of the best things that I start with because it gives me before and after on a lot of my clients and what they're doing. So when I started with the patch and I called Kate and I said, hey, I would like to try these, she texted me and said, hey, do a before and after. And I was like, well, duh, of course I should do a before and after. So that was probably the first time I'd even thought about comparing my own product stuff. So did I have any expectations? No, not really, especially in 10 days, because one of the things that I made sure I did is I did not take any products other than patching to make sure that I wasn't taking enzymes and things that would take care of my cells. So let me have Kate put up one of the blood analysis and I'll explain what nutritional blood analysis shows you. And so before patching,
we're
good.
Hold on, I'm gonna mute.
There you go.
There, I get some mutes in here.
So what you're looking at is when we're doing a nutritional blood analysis, I'm looking at your live blood. I've got about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops, while your blood is under my microscope and it's still alive. And that is the best way, of course, to look at blood and see what the constitution of the body is. And all of your red blood cells, that's what most of these pictures are. The red blood cells, of course, transport your oxygen and your nutrients. And your blood cells have a negative and a positive electrode. When you have a full complement of enzymes and you can digest your food correctly, your blood cells, the blood then has the negative and positive, and they can repel each other. And they can do that within 3 hours of time from the time you eat. So when you eat, your enzymes help you to, again, absorb all the nutrients and make sure that you have the energy to keep moving. Because when we don't have a good digestive system and we are bogged down and our blood is sluggish and slow, then we have no energy. And that's why it's truly the blood. The blood is where everything begins. So I will start with the one that says before patching. And these were both in the morning. And I usually take my blood first thing in the morning before anything. And so what that first top picture there before patching, this is your red blood cells. They're stuck together. This was first thing in the morning for me. So this had been probably a 10-hour fast. And so if your blood isn't completely digested in 3 hours, I would have eaten breakfast and then my blood would have still been trying to digest and I would have been a meal behind for the whole day. And so the energy would have been along with it. That bottom picture on the before patching is also showing, it's almost what we call ReLU, which is the oxygen is not being transported. And so the cells are stuck together. And again, they have no properties, they absorb. I can take the very best whole food multiple vitamin that the world makes, and if my body doesn't absorb it, too bad for me, I'm not going to get anything. And it's not going to absorb when my cells look like that. That top one, again, also in the before patching, that little bat looking thing there is a white blood cell. It is also not moving too well. It's basically the mitochondria inside of it was sort of hindered, and it wasn't awake. White blood cells should not be round, so that was good. At least it was, not in a round shape. But your white blood cells, again, cannot have more than 2, maybe 3 nucleuses, or again, it's also what we call hypersegmented and it's not doing its job. To the right of that, right underneath what I call the bat wing of that white blood cell, is a red blood cell with a tip on it. And that tip is called protein linkage. Good job, Kate. That's called protein linkage, which means that the protease, or the enzyme that breaks down protein, is just not really available to me. And so again, if I had eaten breakfast, the cell would have said, nope, can't take any more in. We're just not hungry. We have plenty of food. So that's what I looked like. Usually I take enzymes for this kind of stuff, but I decided during the patching process, I was going to be, total, straight off of all this stuff. So I started to patch. I had the X39 and I would do the one in the evening, the ER patch. That was where the patches I was using. So on day 10, there is my blood. And I was quite surprised. I've got to tell you, I was quite in awe of myself, because my blood doesn't look like this usually unless I take digestive enzymes before eating. And that again is a protocol I use for most of my clients. I put them on digestive enzymes. I was totally amazed. Now, there's still some work to be done, don't get me wrong, but everything was apart. And there were some of the protein linkage that was snuck in. And I didn't get a good picture of any of my white blood cells in that count. I mean, you only have one white for about every 10,000 red, so you got to go chase them down sometimes. But I was just amazed, because even in that picture, looking at it now, my cells are almost all the same size, which is like, wow, that's really cool. I would tell my client, I give you a gold star, because your red blood cells a lot of times, without taking a good multiple vitamin, are not the same size as well, because they're lacking some iron or some other things. So like I said, the bottom far right one, the protein linkage had decreased, but I can see that there's a little bit right there at almost the middle. Yeah, there's one. They go to your left and up just a little bit. Yep, right up in there to you. You can see the points that are on there. And so I still had some protein linkage going on. But when you are no longer able to produce, well, we don't make digestive enzymes, which is why we have to take them. You're born with them, and when they run out, you're out. And the only way to get them is in your food. And if you cook it, you've lost those enzymes, or to take enzymes. So this was just really quite surprising to me. So there you have. Do you have the other one up, the before patching?
I do. Give me 1 second and I will bring that one up. Before we change, although I think it's on the next one. It says erythrocyte aggregation.
Yes, thrombocyte. Was it the thrombocyte aggregation? That's what. Yes, that was the one. Yeah. Okay, that was Beck's. That one. This one was me, because I was like, that was the other one. So the bottom picture of the thrombocyte aggregation, what that is that's a blood clot. When you have a lot of platelets that are clotting together, it's a microscopic blood clot, but it lets me know that my clients are predisposed for blood clotting. Of course, I saw a ton of this with people who either got COVID or got the vaccinations. There's a lot of, clotting going on. I did not take the vaccination, but I did get COVID. And so I've been kind of watching that thrombocyte aggregation stuff, and it was there. But by the time after the 10 days of patching, the platelets looked normal and I could not find any more aggregation. So again, another like, wow, that's surprising. So this is me. And the first picture you saw, that was my wife. So we both are just totally amazed at the differences in that. Now, I feel the difference in the energy that this is happening right now. I can't speak for her, but I am definitely very surprised, without using a product, an enzyme directly, that these patches can do this job for you. There you go. Questions?
Quick question for you. What is this down here?
That's a white blood cell. That's my white blood cell. Yeah.
Oh, and so there's one is that the one nucleus right there?
Yep. And then right above that is a platelet. And so the picture on the left that shows the aggregation, that's just a lot of them clumped together.
Okay.
But they should look like the picture on the right with the right above that blood cell. Actually, that one's a little bit bigger than I even like it to be. Platelets should be individual, and that one's probably 2 platelets together, but I'll take it. I'll take it over that big old thrombocyte and the aggregation that was starting. So yeah, kind of amazing.
Wow. And I remember when you looked at my blood, which I really wish I had taken a picture of. And I did not. But when you looked at my blood, you had talked about there was some kind of EMF. Mm-hmm. There was a cell that had these little spikes coming out. And I see that you don't have, well, not at least in the pictures that you showed, you don't have any of that in yours.
No. I have EMF protection on so much of the stuff, and I carry things to keep me from the EMFs, the electrical magnetic fields bothering my body and things like that. My computer has something on it right here and things like that. So I'm always protecting. So that's what you had, was a free radically damaged cell that can no longer keep its cell wall together because of the effects of the electrical magnetics. Yeah.
Wow. Does anyone have any questions? Would you like to raise your hand and ask a question about all of the blood analysis here? So in your overview of what you saw in yourself and your wife, what was your professional takeaway from your 10 days of patching?
Well, like I said, I'm still learning and researching, because I'm reading every doggone research article that I can get my hands on that Kate gives me and that I've been looking at, because my professional opinion is I don't get it, because this really almost doesn't happen because I didn't put any enzymes into my body to make this happen. So these stem cell patches are doing exactly what I take all this other stuff to do, is how I'm kind of figuring it out, which means that it's helping my body to make or to use the enzymes correctly that are still available. That's the only answer I have at this point, which is crazy. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenally crazy in my opinion that it works that well. And so I can't wait for my 30 days, because I'll be revealing my 30-day blood too. And I'm really excited because I feel that it's going to be very zippy and moving a lot more and stuff like that, which is really great, because when you put a nutritional blood analysis on, what happens is that usually people's blood quits moving after a minute, and then it sits there, and then I can look at it. People that have been out walking or exercising and things like that, just before they get their blood done, it takes me about 4 minutes to get their cells to actually stop moving so fast that I can actually get a look at it. So I'm kind of thinking my blood's going to be zippy, really zippy. So, but yeah,
Give me
I'm
blood.
still really trying to understand how in 10 days of this patch, I got the results in the digestive area. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Badra, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm actually raising my hand for Dr. Tina. She can't raise her hand.
Oh,
But
yeah.
She can unmute.
Yeah, let me go get her.
She can unmute. Here you go. Here she
Oh,
is.
there she
Yeah, I
is.
can unmute, but I can't raise my hand for some reason.
Okay.
I have one, but yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Gwen or Dr. Ward. I love scientific presentations, and I want to pick your brain about live blood cell analysis. I don't know a lot about it. So a couple questions. What would you expect? Like, have you done this kind of before and after before with other things? And what you say it's surprising and it clearly looks good, but what I need a basis of comparison. Like, do you have other things, other inventions that have been exciting and seen worse results? Is this, I'm guessing this is probably the best you've ever seen, but how long or what kind of interventions? Like, I know that I'd imagine Chinese medicine is really good at this as well, but I think it takes a lot longer is my hunch. And I'm just wondering, like, what sort of basis of comparison? I have another question after this one too, but yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have done some before and after, sort of. Okay, so the Healy frequency device I use a lot in my practice, if you're familiar with Healy, and I have used frequencies. And the thing about a frequency device is that it has to be on the body at the moment of taking the blood, because once the frequency is removed, a lot of times the body will actually revert quite quickly back. And so, but when I'm using frequencies, I can definitely see the difference in the blood immediately. Take a blood, 15 minutes later, take another blood. So yes, I have had many times of comparisons. Have I done it for other products? I have. Years back, I've had other people love to approach me and say, hey, will you, look at my product and sell my product because you've got the expertise to do it. And most of the time I say no. But I approached Kate because this was intriguing to me. And that's why I'm willing to speak to it, because I approached this one. So yeah, the long-term effect, because of wearing the patch for the 12 hours, supports that blood in that sustainability, if that's what you're asking. So that was part of it.
Yeah. Well, I can geek out with you about hypotheses about why it's happening so quickly.
Yeah.
Would love to do that. The other question I have, and I've been kind of a pain in the ass about this, is that I just started patching Friday. I'm very new to it. And before that, I was drinking a lot of copper water, not, just like the recommended dose of 1 liter, and use a copper pillowcase, which is still vital to me. And I have other sources of copper, and I do know how to muscle test. I do know how to make sure that I'm not getting too much. Mm-hmm. And I guess my question is, given that it's a copper peptide that we're talking about, mm-hmm. I want to get a better sense of the relationship. Like, are there benefits of actually adding copper to this whole protocol? And have you looked at that? And maybe, should we look at that? And is that something that David Schmidt has explored? Or are you pretty new to this product as well? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to say. This is a to be continued button here for me, because there's so much more. I have looked at also, because since my 10 days, I've added back my frequency device, and how is the frequencies helping the patch? I'm like a kid in kindergarten. I'm like, oh, let's try and put this on there, and let's try this one, and see what happens, because there's so much
together, because I'm using frequencies as well.
Wonderful.
So
wonderful.
I wrote a paper on it back in 2008. So yeah.
Gwen, do you mind if I just address this for you? Tina, it's Sandra again. Hi, sweetheart. I know that you asked this question last week in one of the calls, and I'm going to give you the exact same answer, that David Schmidt does say to use copper glycinate supplement. That's the only one he says to use. And remember, what the patches are only elevating copper peptide within our system, and the body knows exactly how much copper peptide to elevate in order to lengthen our telomeres, wake up the stem cells, and create new ones. So your body's never going to give you an overreaction of copper peptide, an over amount of it, because it can't. I mean, it's in its wisdom, it's doing what it's doing. And you can
Right,
actually,
I'm not worried about that.
thank you so much with this, because being able to see the difference in the blood from before and after, we realize that the body in its intelligence knows how to heal itself when it's given that system. And that was, that's your answer, Tina. There'll be no other answer, because that's what it is, right? And we don't.
Well, I want to know more. I want to understand the mechanism of action and.
Well, you'll have to talk to David. So why don't we try and, like next time he's on a call and they do a Q&A, learn how to put your hand up. And what you do, darling, is on the bottom of your computer, you'll see along the bottom where it says participants.
No, I'm sorry. I do know, and I've done it before, but it's not working in this forum.
Okay. I'm just saying,
but I do know how to do it.
Know how. Yeah. So next time David does a Q&A, try and jump on or write it in the chat, and I'll let him know. And I'll, if I'm on the same one, I'll just say, hey, Tina wants to go a little bit deeper here. Now, whether or not he'll give you any more answer than what I have or not is another thing. But you know what? It never hurts to ask when it's forefront in your mind.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you for that, Sandra. I do believe that there is a call on Wednesday this week. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
But I think there is a product call with him this Wednesday. So if you want to set an alarm in your phone to tune in to that.
No, I'm sorry. I do know about it, and I can't make it. It's the only appointment I can't make this week.
Oh, okay. Well, there will be a replay, but I would say that David does a call at the beginning of the month, pretty much every month. So I would kind of tune in on that, go to your back office, go to events, and they're all listed right there. So you can kind of carve out time for that, an upcoming event. But thank you for your question. Maria, you have a question?
Yeah, and this might be a question others have. Dr. Gwen, thank you so much. This is fascinating to receive this information. I so appreciate it. So I haven't had my labs done in over 2 years now, and I actually have been using the patches just under 2 years. So I'm about to have labs ordered, and just out of curiosity, are there any specific labs that you would suggest that I have done, or things I should be looking for specifically, just as someone who, of course, is sharing the patches, wants to have my own testimonial around this, and obviously don't have the comparison patch or comparison photos like you?
Well, unfortunately, you're looking at, when you're talking about medical blood testing, you're looking at dead blood. And so dead blood is not going to show you the same vitality as the live blood cell analysis. Live blood cell analysis was used all the way up in the medical fields until mid-50s, the early 60s, when they came up with phlebotomy and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit different. But your comparisons are just going to be there. Your cholesterols and, any of your blood counts and anything like that, your liver, liver counts, those type of things, all that's going to be, good comparisons if you had any spots in there. But, the live blood is, to me, the one and only goodies out there. If you can find someone in your area that does nutritional blood analysis, because, there is no chemicals put in it, because we know that those test tubes for, phlebotomy, each one of those colored tubes has a different type of chemical that's going to preserve what it is they want to look at. And so they've preserved it with certain, chemicals as well. So it just depends. So that's why the nutritional blood analysis, there's no chemicals added to the blood as well. So sorry, I don't have a better answer for you on that one, but that's sort of the difference.
That actually makes a lot of sense though. So thank you that I'm actually not having a live blood analysis, but it will be great to compare my compare my results compared to before wearing the patches over 2 years ago.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I did just drop in Gwen's website on the chat, so you can go there and kind of take a look at, what she has for the live blood analysis. And if you're local and you can set up a time with her, please do. It is fascinating. All right, here we go. Maria.
Hello, everybody. First of all, Katie, thank you so much for organising this, and thank you to Dr. Ward. I am really excited to see this. Actually, I am a live blood specialist in Australia. And I've been out of action for a few years because of a health issue, and the patches have brought me back, and I'm so excited about this. I've literally got my scope out of storage just recently, and I just want to support everything that you're doing, Dr. Ward. I'm just so excited. This is wonderful, and I missed the very first bit of the Zoom, so I'll have to catch the recording on that. But I truly support you in the comments that you just made in relation to the live blood analysis and that particular collection technique, and why it is such a great tool for people to actually see changes within the blood cells in a short period of time using, certain methods. And so with the patches, I am really excited to be tracking my own blood. I have only just started looking at my own samples because I started patching before, 9 months ago. So I would love to connect with you, Dr. Ward, so that we can actually collaborate and talk more about the things that we're seeing in people's blood samples. So if I could maybe send you an email or contact you through your website, that would be absolutely fantastic. So thanks very much to Katie for organising this.
Great. Great.
Hi, Kate. Got my hand up again.
Come on in.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say how exciting it is to see this at the last Conscious Life Festival expo that we did. There was somebody with a big screen there, and for $50 she took your live blood, put it on the mic under the microscope, and showed you on the screen the living blood. In other words, it wasn't static, the blood was actually moving. Yep. And I remember having my blood taken by Dr. Robert Young, and it wasn't, it was very different because I could see it on the screen, but it wasn't moving. But there was like a snowstorm in one section, and there were these other things in another section, and there were all sorts of things in it. And that was 5 years ago. And then last year, when this woman took my blood, she went, "Oh my God, look at your blood racing across the screen with all that oxygen." And she was like jumping up and down, saying to people, "Have to have a look at this. Like this is the most incredible blood ever." And I'm going, "Yeah, stem cells, baby." So it's like, yeah, really. Obviously it looked very, very different from 5 years before or 4 years before. And I have been wearing the patches for 4 years. So my blood, and another woman took my blood and, whizzed it up to get some stem cells out of it. And she turned around and looked at me and said, "You've got the most beautiful blood I've ever seen." And again, stem cells, baby, right? And so when you have Dr. Ward on and she's showing us the before and after, when I say to everybody, if you're on X39, you've got beautiful blood. And Dr. Ward just showed us that.
Yeah, let me pull that up again for the people that missed it.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Ward's.
Yep, that was mine. Yep. So again, right there, that's the difference in the oxygen. And like I said, usually I put people on, a product of enzymes and things like that. And I'm re-looking at my protocol recommendations to people and what they will be doing. And I'm thinking, what a savings if they're not having to buy like 8 different products to get this out of one patch. I really am looking at this, and I already have some clients that are sending me information and interested in getting on because they want to try this. And I was very, very amazed. I think the biggest thing for me, the digestion and the oxygen, that's all great. My concern was the bottom ones with the platelets, because again, the COVID backlash in our bodies was immense with a lot of blood clotting, and anyone reading today's journals can see how much blood clotting has become a big concern for us since COVID. And I was like, wow, where did that sneak in? And then to see in 10 days without I didn't take you know, a lot of normal stuff that I would have been taking. Oh, wow. There was no aggregation in there. So that was amazing.
It's just so fascinating to me that first that Gwen reached out to me. I made it a point in this event that I was at. I heard all about her. Oh, there's a lady over there taking your blood and looking at your blood in a microscope. And I went, that's cool. I've never heard of that. I want to do that. So on day 2 of the event, I immediately went in, looked on her latest appointment. Someone already beat me to the last 2. So I had to quick scribble my name down and then go set an alarm on my phone, get someone to cover my booth for that time. So I had everything was aligned. And I sit down and she looks at my blood, and I had stopped wearing X39. I was just wearing X39. So I wasn't getting that synergistic property of that EMF protection that I had been getting beforehand. So I am making sure to wear both of them again, so that next time I am with Dr. Gwen and she can look at my blood, I can say, here we go. I've had my patches on, I've had the protection. So let's put it to the test again.
Yeah.
Because I do have that visual, at least for me, of the before.
Right.
And so we're sitting there and she goes, now what do you do? Stem cells. Oh, I've been wanting to get over there, but I'm swamped.
I was swamped.
You were swamped. I mean, you had no time. Did you carve out time for yourself to eat at least?
on day 2, but day 1, totally. There
Oh,
was no, I was happy to get to the bathroom.
Yep. Back to back to back to back. And
Yeah.
it was, I said, oh yeah, I'll get you some information. Well, I go back to my booth, forgot my water. It was so serendipitous. And the woman that was working with you brought the water over to me, and I said, oh, here, take information. And I quick gave her a couple things, and I said, here, take this back with you. And then, you reached out a few days later after the event and everything had kind of settled down. And I'm just so happy that you've come on board and you're able to share this amazing visual proof for us to help us share, because I've seen things going around. I've seen people share things, but if you're okay with it, I would love to be able to share your images, your befores and afters, because it's ours to share. And it's so fascinating. It's your blood, it's yours before patching, yours after, and that we can share it with legitimacy to say, we know, we talked to her, we know who it is, we know where it came from. It's not just, stock images off the internet.
That's right.
So I am just so excited and so thankful that you were here to share this with us. Does anyone have any more questions for Dr. Ward here before we, or any kind of questions in general about the patches?
I do. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Which patches were you using?
I used the X39 during the day and the Eon at night.
Okay. Because it would be interesting to see if we separated all those out, how things would change or whether.
Yeah.
I guess the question I'm kind of thinking of, when you talked about the Healy and that the person had to have the Healy on them for a certain amount of time, and you had to test them with the Healy on. And maybe you haven't gotten here yet, but is it the same with the patches? When you took your blood samples, did you have patches on when you took those blood samples?
I did not. I had been, I wore the X39 for the 12 hours in the daytime. And then I had taken my Eon off and drank a little bit of water and went and took my blood. So the blood was taken without the actual patch on the body. But the effects were still there. Yeah.
We have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Sammy.
Hi, Sammy.
Hi, I have a question. Do these patches work as a chemical agent, or they work like a frequencies? How they work?
It is a frequency. What the patches do, they don't do anything themselves. What they do is they take our body's signal and they act like a mirror. And that signal, that light, that heat, the frequency we give off hits the patch. It acts like a mirror and it sends a signal back to the body telling it to do something specific, depending on which patch you're wearing. So our X39 patch says, make more stem cells. And then there are other patches that do other things. Depending
Actually, the Kate, the X39 and 49
Correct.
says to the brain, elevate copper peptide. And
Correct.
then it's the copper peptide that elongates the telomeres, wakes up the old stem cells and creates new ones.
Did that answer your
Thank you.
question, Sammy?
Yes, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I have a question. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Dr. Gwen, do you think that the 10 days in your use of the X39, since you didn't add any enzymes, do you think that the X39 actually was having your body create those enzymes that you were not giving yourself?
Your body, okay. You were born with a bank of enzymes for digestion, semolase, protease, lipase. Each time you eat something that is cooked, baked, fried, grilled, whatever, that is not raw, your body takes out one of those enzymes so that you can digest.
Okay.
If you do not have a certain enzyme like protease to digest protein anymore, then your body converts your metabolic enzymes into a digestive enzyme. And that's the backup system. So you don't make enzymes, okay, at least digestive enzymes. We don't make more. You got what you got when you got it, when you're born. So what's happening in my own little world opinion is that this patch is helping my body to use the enzymes that I have left at a higher rate or better rate, more efficient rate, and or helping my body use the metabolic enzymes in again a more efficient way, so that again I'm digesting the food better. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and coming to listen about live blood samples. I'm so excited that we were able to bring Dr. Ward on and have her share her images and her findings. Thank you again. Her link is in the chat. So if you need that or anything else, you can copy that out real quick. If not, you can always email me at patchingpartners@gmail.com, and I can get you any other information that you need. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. It was such a wonderful learning experience. Thank you, Dr. Gwen. I really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you, Kate. Thank
We
you,
look
Dr.
forward. We look forward to the 30-day. I heard
Yep.
from there.
Yep, we do.
I
We
heard
do.
the 30-day. So I can't wait to see her. What did you call it, Sandra? Pristine?
Yes, Christine.
Pristine blood.
Yes.
Everyone
Yeah.
have a wonderful evening and enjoy your week.
Thank you, Kate.
Yep.
Love
Take
you.
care.